Thanks for checking out the Nickel Press Show. My name is Andy Singleton, at People's Pen on Twitter. Today I'm going to start my 30 guys I want on my fantasy football rosters in 2015 segment. And I'm going to start with the quarterbacks. My list will be 5 quarterbacks, 10 running backs, 10 wide receivers, and 5 tight ends. Not necessarily a rankings list, just guys that I'm more than comfortable with owning in the 2015 season. I'll provide reasons as to why, but for the most part, I mean, you're the general manager, so ultimately it's up to you to decide. Now, we've become much smarter in fantasy, whether it be through Twitter, checking your favorite writers, podcasts, even, channels like this with videos like these. We are smarter fantasy players. So the guys I'm going to say aren't necessarily people that are hiding under rocks. They're just guys I'm comfortable with owning for this season. So let's start right away with the only Super Bowl winner on this list, and that is the New York Giant, Eli Manning. Manning is basically going as the quarterback 12 right now, yet he boasts 2 of the most sought-after wide receivers in the entire league, in Victor Cruz and Odell Beckham. Now, both of those guys certainly are injury risks, but you can't expect them to have spectacular numbers simply by throwing the ball to themselves. Somebody has to pass the ball to them, and that, of course, is going to be Eli Manning. Now, Eli Manning has thrown for career high in yardage, right around 5,000 yards, and he's had 31 touchdowns as his career, as the high mark in his career. You factor in Ruben Randall, who's going in the top 60 as the 3rd wide receiver. You add Shane Vereen to the backfield. And there's some hope that there could be another 5,000 plus yard season for Eli with 35 or more touchdowns. This is also a contract year for Eli, and he's already stated he wants to be the highest quarterback in the entire game. So he's got a lot to play for, and I believe it'll get done this year, and he's somebody I'm more than comfortable owning. Number 2 on this list is Ryan Tannehill. Now, I personally don't understand the beef with Tannehill. I mean, I could be jaded by the fact that my brother's a Dolphins fan. He fell in love with Miami back in the Dan Marino days in the 80s. But it seems to go beyond just him. And the outrage with Tannehill is that people just don't see how he's evolved and how he is evolving. He basically was a wide receiver turned quarterback a year before he got drafted. And all he's done as a pro is improve at every aspect of the quarterback position, at least for what we count in fantasy measures. He's improved his yardage, he's improved his completion percentage, he's improved his touchdowns. I mean, touchdowns, he's gone from 12 to 24 to 27. Completion percentage, he's gone from 58 to 60 to 66. I mean, these are solid numbers. He's now surrounded by the best supporting cast he's had so far in his career. Rookie Devontae Parker, who will play at some point. Jarvis Landry, who kind of emerged last year. He also has Greg Jennings and Kenny Stills added to the mix. A solid running game. Jordan Cameron. I mean, there's just too many weapons and too many options for this guy. And Miami is going to be one of the better offenses in the entire league this year. And Ryan Tannehill will be the quarterback at the helm. One more thing on Tannehill. He finished as the QB9 overall last season, and he was only 30 points away from the 5th spot. This is the season he closes that gap, and he'll be a top 5 quarterback for the next couple of years. Number 3 on this list is Phillip Rivers. Now, we're all very well accustomed with Phillip Rivers. We know what he's accomplished, what he's done. He has shown consistency, which is something that we desire, a desired trait for fantasy players and athletes, not even in fantasy for that matter. Consistency is basically, you know what his floor is. He's going to give you 4,200 yards and 30 touchdowns. He started every game over the last 9 years of his career. The Chargers love him. They just paid him like a Saudi prince, giving him a guaranteed $65 million. So he basically has 65 million reasons now to prove that he can continue this consistency. In addition, he offers the best. He's got the best players he's ever had in his career now joining him. You got Steve Johnson coming in. You lose Eddie Royal, but I think Stevie Johnson is a slight upgrade. You got Keenan Allen entering his 3rd season with another year. And from what all reports are saying, slimmed down Keenan Allen, who wants to be a more complete receiver this year. You got Malcolm Floyd entering his final season, or at least he says he's going to retire after this year. You got Ladarius Green, who's going to get 4 games in Antonio Gates' absence to kind of emerge. And you got Melvin Gordon, who I believe in as one of the best rookie running backs and will provide some solidity to that to the Chargers running game. Anyway, this is arguably Phillip Rivers' best options that he's had in his career. So look for his numbers to continue to be with that very steady floor of 4,200, 30 touchdowns, 4,200 yards, 30 plus touchdowns as a floor, and it's only going to get better from there. Yogi Berra once said, baseball is 90% mental and the other half physical. And the same can be said of all sports, football included. It's kind of where the proverbial chip on the shoulder expression comes from. Now, we can closely associate Teddy Bridgewater with Aaron Rodgers due to the public free fall we saw both of them endure on their respective draft days. The big difference with Aaron Rodgers was that he got 3 years to learn under Brett Favre, and didn't have to be thrust into the spotlight, whereas Teddy Bridgewater was thrown into a fire with the Vikings last season. He only played 12 games, but if you extrapolate those 12 games over a full 16-game season, he would have nearly 4,000 yards and 20 touchdowns passing, which is pretty remarkable for a rookie learning an offense minus a consistent running game, receivers that lacked. So what he accomplished last year, and now he gets Mike Wallace added to the mix. He gets a healthy, rejuvenated, energized, chip on shoulder Adrian Peterson. The options going forward for Teddy are very impressive. Additionally, he gets the certainty of knowing he's the day one starter in Minnesota. So there's nobody breathing down his neck or looking over his shoulder. Teddy is always remained cool, calm, and collected. I call him Cool Breeze Bridgewater. And, he's an old soul that even that little baby face he has can't hide. So do yourself a favor, watch some of these preseason games and get familiar with him and just notice how quickly he goes through his reads and how he typically always finds the right wide receiver. He's very patient in the pocket, very poised, and look for that to continue onto the field in the regular season. Finally, the last guy on this list is Andy Dalton. And no, that's not because of the name. It's really because Andy Dalton is a solid fantasy quarterback. He started every game in his career, and he's 17 games over 500 in that span. Now, I know he gets ridiculed in Cincinnati. I know he's made he's had some costly turnovers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I'd rather have this guy than a lot of options that are currently employed in the NFL. He went through last season missing A.J. Green, missing Marvin Jones, missing Tyler Eifert, even Jermaine Gresham at certain points of the season. So he really didn't have as many options. In fact, it led to him throwing a career low 481 passing attempts. You factor in, you got a healthy A.J. Green coming back. You got a healthy Marvin Jones coming back. You got a rejuvenated and healthy Tyler Eifert coming back. You got a more confident Mohamed Sanu now. You have a established, young, dynamic rushing attack with Jeremy Hill and Giovanni Bernard. And everything is aligned for Andy Dalton to get back on track. He got a little derailed in the 2014 season, but prior to last year, he had improved in all aspects of his game, even touching 30 touchdown passes in the season. He throws for the yardage, everything you'd want in your fantasy quarterback. So this guy's basically, fallen down behind a lot of guys that I'd rather have Dalton ahead of. So be confident. A lot of guys have soured on Dalton, but you should still be sweet on the red rifle. And this is a good year to pick him up. While others are zigging, you should be zagging. All right, that's going to do it for the quarterback portion of 30 guys I want to have on my fantasy rosters in 2015. Make sure to tune back in for the 10 running backs, the 10 wide receivers, and the 5 tight ends episodes, as well as preseason week 2 of our regular weekly show. The biggest and best way you can make sure that you don't miss any of this stuff is to subscribe to this channel and add your comments to the comment section below. Any questions you have on your specific teams, they'll gladly be answered. Players you might want to know about, we'll definitely answer them here at the Nickel Press. So thanks for tuning in. Follow me on Twitter at People's Pen. Follow the show on Twitter at Nickel Press Show. And again, please subscribe to the channel, and thanks for tuning in. Good luck in all your drafts this year.